Marta. Thanks, dear colleagues, and thanks to the participants. It's an opportunity to join you, to meet you, and to have a view for these 25 minutes to tell about Neanderthals, about earliest Homo sapiens in this part of Italy, which is the northeast part of Italy, of our country, where important sites like the cave of Fumane give us from since 30 years, at least over 30 years, give us the possibility to explore the dynamics, the cultural, behavioral, and the biological dynamics between these two species. So I take Fumane as a study case because in this cave where sediments are well preserved, the story between Neanderthals and sapiens is recorded and is recorded with detail, and also thanks to extraordinary, exceptional, and unique findings. But this story frames in a largest scenario, because Neanderthals, as you know, were the settlers and the natives of Europe, and they also settled the south of Europe, many parts of our country, of Italy. They didn't settle Sicily at the moment, but all the peninsula and also the Alpine fringe was settled by Neanderthals. And Neanderthals were part of a large world. Neanderthals in Italy were part of a large Neanderthal world where these human relatives were settled in many different regions, and also they were connected with more than today, of course, where they were connected with the eastern parts of Europe, because Italy was much different than today, thanks to the lowering of sea level and the extending of connections with the Balkans. So we know that Italy was visited by also by modern humans, anatomically modern humans, the earliest Homo sapiens who settled in the south of Europe, or at least 45,000 years before present. But modern humans were part of a more complex, a larger complex of waves that invested all our continent and also the center of Asia. So Fumane Cave is situated in a cave in strategic area where frequentation of the alpine southern alpine fringe was quite constrained and quite limited by the climatic and ecological changes. Here there is a map showing the different position of the Adriatic shoreline during the isotopic stage 3, so about 38,000 years, showing that the present-day plain was much more extended to the southeast, so favoring the connections between the two worlds, the Balkans, the Italian peninsula, and especially in the northern part. So Fumane is situated in a remarkable area, well known for prehistory, because many sites were discovered in the region northwest of Verona, where there is a Ripago Tagliente and other important sites, and many of these sites are devoid of dates of radiocarbon or absolute dating, but others like Fumane, Ripago Tagliente can be positioned in a clear chronological frame. Fumane was discovered at around over 30 years ago. It is situated in a small creek valley, not far from the high plateau, from the alluvial valleys, connecting this part of the mountains with the large alluvial plain extending to the south. So Fumane was, as I said, discovered, surveyed for the first time at the end of the 80s, then extensively surveyed in the 90s, and now is under excavation. Using different protocols, of course, using a different approach than that one used 30 years ago. And we are now exploring the one of the latest Neanderthal settlements in a layer A10, which is not visible. This is a sketch of the stratigraphic section showing some fireplaces in the Mousterians, so showing the presence of the Aleutians, showing the presence of the Aurignacians. So the Middle Paleolithic and the early Upper Paleolithic are well recorded in this package of sediment, in this stock of the sediments. This site gives us the possibility to organize a multidisciplinary research and multidisciplinary investigation, also in collaboration with the national research councils. There is a team. They are reconstructing the landscape and the ecological conditions during the isotopic stage 3, and they show that thanks to important pollen cores that in important pollen cores in the Veneto region, not far from Fumane, that the landscape much changed starting since the 40,000 years, when Neanderthals were very close to disappear in Europe, and were already disappeared in this part of Italy. Here, from this from this sketch, you can see that the forests which covered the north plain were substituted and replaced by open vegetation. So it means that modern humans, when settled for the first time in this part of Italy, at the southern fringe of the Alps, they adapted to open environments, and they hunted and they survived thanks to the exploitation of a much reduced biodiversity in terms of vegetation and animals. The Upper Paleolithic and the Middle Paleolithic, Upper Paleolithic transition is well recorded thanks to an important stack of layers. As you can see in this case, geoarchaeology is very important, discipline, which gives us the possibility to plan plan a strategy for sampling, describing on field the sediments, the alternation between anthropogenic layers, sterile layers, and so on. So this is a big opportunity we have to apply at a high detail geoarchaeology with high resolution for disentangling the origin and the formation of these sediments, recording a number of frequentation of Neanderthal and Homo sapiens frequentations. Another important opportunity to carry out, organize a multidisciplinary research is related to the human remains. Only 5 teeth were found during these over 30 years of excavation, decidual teeth or permanent teeth. These teeth attracted and stimulated the research on the, as you can see, on the oral microbiome, on the human DNA, on the weaning stage of Neanderthals and modern humans, and of course on the diet, on the human diet. I have no time to go in detail to provide details, but all data are published. And again, about the DNA, an important and pioneer investigation is in course and was carried out for the first time in 2018 and 19 when colleagues and paleogenetists from Max Planck took sediment samples for environmental DNA to retrieve DNA of humans, of Neanderthals, and of animals processed in the site. So the data are in course of publication. Another important aspect relates to radiocarbon. Radiocarbon, as you know, is at the threshold of application of the limit. So we, since until 2008, 2009, there was a big incertitude in radiocarbon chronology at the edge of the application of this method. But thanks to improvement and the treatment of samples carried out by the Oxford University, it was possible to ameliorate this situation and to get more reliable dates between the final Mysteria and the early upper Paleolithic. Organic material was not only used for radiocarbon dating, but also for fine, very detailed investigations, because thanks to taphonomy, very fine taphonomy, high-resolution taphonomy, it was possible also to highlight and to demonstrate that Neanderthals hunted cave bears and brown bears. Also, they hunted wolves, comparably to modern humans. Also, modern humans hunted and exploited the wolf, and but exceptionally, Neanderthals also hunted bears, as you can see by the cut marks shown and still well visible on these bones. The birds are an important attestation of a widening of the diet, of the Neanderthal diet, and until 2010, 2011, there were no clear evidence, sustainable evidence in Europe about this practice of Neanderthals. But now the evidence is much secured, and a recent publication. A recent publication authored by colleagues from Liège University, a famous facility headed by Verle Roth, a functional analyst. She is an archaeologist who investigated and analyzed many Middle Paleolithic sites. During the analysis of residues, it was funny to see that this barbel was extracted from Musterian scraper found in Fumane many years before the analysis. So it's a clear evidence of the exploitation of birds. And lithic tools are, of course, the main source of information for reconstructing Neanderthal cultures and behavior. Lithic are mostly represented by chert. Chert was provisioned locally, but also provisioned in farer exposures in the south of Fumane, north at the extreme highest elevations of the plateau, and also to the west. west of the present-day Garda Lake. So this analysis required archaeometry, petroarchaeology, and with high competence colleagues and researchers with high competence of a church, and church used to produce different types of artifacts using the based on the application of Levallois technology or discoid technology, and in this case the technological analysis were performed by many of my collaborators to show that the different modalities of Levallois technology were applied, but also technology was applied for in the frame of the discoid concept, because discoid concept is well recorded almost at exclusive level degree in a layer A9 dating back to around 48,000 years. And during an excavation in 2013, we discovered a bunch of flakes. All flakes were refitted, and this refitting was performed and ameliorated using a 3D imaging, visual imaging analysis. And thanks to this technology, we were able to reconstruct the production, the exploitation of this gray chert slab, and to realize that the byproducts, the end products were selected and taken off of this small lithic workshop. The layer A9 attracted our attention because of the presence of purposely modified baked tools, baked implements. You see pictures of the back. You see here the cutting edge opposite to the back. So in this case, our analysis also involved another specialist of functional of usewear analysis to reconstruct the function and the important important set of innovations related with this tool. Now, after a couple of publications, we realized that these baked tools used by the late Neanderthals, very late Neanderthals, are similar to others used outside Italy, in west of the Alps, but also in the north of the Alps. So this industry is continually stimulating our attraction, our interest, because, as I said, of the possibility to compare the appearance of this specific innovation or specific amelioration in the performance of lithic tools in elsewhere in the north of Europe and in the west of Europe. Neanderthals also left clear traces of their symbolic behavior. As you can see, our view of Neanderthals much changed in the last 10, 15 years, thanks to the discovery of the big bird bones taken from the wing with cut marks attesting the partition of the wings, bearing the most spectacular feathers. Also, eagle claws were found in some sites in southern Europe. Krapina was the last one. Cova Foradada is not reported here. Fumane Cave and another cave in Friuli clearly attest the extraction of claws from these important raptors, so big raptors. And this is an interesting aspect because we can support the idea that Neanderthals were the first in using these claws, these specific items for adornment, and then these similar and comparable items were also used by the first Homo sapiens, settling in, as you can see here, in Bulgaria, in Bachokiro Cave, and settling in many parts of Europe. And they continued using these eagle claws in Aurignacian, in the Magdalenian, and so on. So this is an interesting, it could be an interesting evidence of change, of a sharing of the importance of the, for symbolic use, for symbolic significance of this material. The study of these materials, of these specimens required a specific competence taken from zooarchaeology. With a high specialization of the bird bones and the exploitation. Also, another competence was paleontology and malacology, because in Fumane we found a unique, rare example of ornamental shell used by Neanderthals, again Neanderthals in layer A9, so between 48 and 47,000 years. And in layer A5, A6, so really the latest Neanderthals, together with, in association with an impressive amount of fauna remains, an impressive amount of lithics, we found 5 or 6 beautiful green pebbles, very flat, which are sort of a unique evidence, unique finding. So there are no comparable items in the rest of the country, but also in other sites in Europe. I heard that green pebbles were found probably in a cave in the south of France, but no clear information from there. And these pebbles were subject of important paper where we co-authored, that was co-authored with other colleagues doing petrology, doing residue analysis, using applied other analysis to scrutinize the surface of these pebbles. You see here this beautiful table with flat, very, very flat pebbles. These pebbles can be collected even today in the Adige River gravelly plain south of the Fumane Cave, very far south of the Fumane Cave, but they are very, very rare, so flat. So this means that the Neanderthals really searched for collecting these pebbles on the exposed the gravelly plain of the Adige River. And residues demonstrated that these pebbles were used to detach, to work and to knap on a bone, not for lithics. So they were used as hammers to work bone, and this is not surprising because bone was used in Fumane to be shaped thanks to on the base of by means of retouch, and bones were also probably usable tools once they were modified by retouch. Just to say that the serpentinite, which is the greenish rock of these pebbles, were used in the Upper Paleolithic by Homo sapiens. This is a beautiful example of one of the statuettes on the Venuses dating to the Gravettian, found in Balsirose caves in Italy again. So the serpentinite probably was a green colored rock appreciated not only for its mechanic properties, but also for the color. We are going to leave the Mousterian and to enter in the beginning of the Upper Paleolithic, where the Lucian techno-complex and material culture is clearly attested in this cave. We found fireplaces, accumulation of waste material, so bones and flakes and so on, attesting that Homo sapiens, the first Homo sapiens settled in this site around 43,000 years, when the Neanderthals were still present and still living in some regions of Italy. The combined analysis of technology and functional studies clearly attest the use of some of these tools. There is one hand scraper and also baked knives, which are a typical artifact of the evolution in all over Italy. And then definitely Homo sapiens arrived. They modified the entrance of the cave, according to all the research, all the hypotheses. They probably painted the cave, but this old hypothesis was recently rejected by a new analysis, a new study of the painted stones found in the Aurignacian layer. Here you have a view of the Aurignacian settlement. The Aurignacian cultural package is extraordinarily represented by an impressive amount of complete bladelets, Dufour bladelets, finely retouched on the sides, pointed bladelets, bladed cores, bone tools. This is a bone rib with notches on the sides, and also by one of the largest collections of marine shells found in this site. Over 900 shells were found. These shells are contemporary to the settlement, so these are not fossil shells. They were collected on the Adriatic shore and are one of the unique, one of the unique rare examples of a thanatocyanosis existing for the isotopes stage 3 around the Adriatic basin. The shells were published in a paper, like also many aspects of the lithium industries. This is the second Aurignacian proto-Aurignacian package, according to recent functional analysis, based also, not functional, sorry, technological analysis, also supported by and reinforced by strong statistical analysis using 3D morphometrics, using 3D visual technology. It was confirmed that in the second phase, dating back to 36,000 years, the proto-Aurignacian continued to use the same bladelet-based lithic industry. And this is the famous painted stone we discovered over 20 years ago, showing a sort of a sorcerer, shaman, painted on a stone. These are bone points, the famous bone points typical of the second phase of the Aurignacian. Well, just to conclude, Fumane has now and now is open to the public. We have the possibility to welcome tourists all over the year, or at least a larger part of the year, and it continues producing an impressive amount of data, an impressive amount of material, to big opportunity to students, undergraduate, master, PhD, post-PhD, PhD students, and post-PhD researchers to perform and to carry out specific studies or analysis. We are collaborating with important European projects, and also we hope in the future there will be other projects coming soon.